All right, so there's this thing called the zero product property, and that pretty much says that if I have like any three terms, we'll call one A times B times C, right? Or X, Y, and Z, it doesn't matter. Just three any variables. If the product of those three things equals zero, then at least one of those terms, X or Y or Z, or two of the three, or all three, must be equal to zero. So how does this help me when solving a quadratic? Well, if you remember, like if I have three things lined up, like an X, and then Y is like A minus 2, and B is like A minus 3 or something like that, right? This would be the same thing as A minus 3 times A minus 2, right? And this would, if this all equals 0, then I could say that, that equals 0, and then that could equal 0, and then that equals 0. Okay? So if I factor something, I can set the thing inside of parentheses equal to 0 if it's factorable. Okay? So it only applies when the equation on one side equals 0, which means you need to manipulate the equation to make it equal 0. Additionally, it cannot be directed to matrices, which I'm not really going to get into that right now. Okay, so it also requires factorization. Okay, so here is an example. I have x squared minus or plus 13x plus 40 equals 0. So if I say, hey, this equals 0, and I factor this, right, and I have a positive, an x, and an x. Now I need the factors of 40. A little out of focus here. The factors of 40, that will make 13. All right, so 1 and 40, that don't make 13. 2 and 20, that doesn't make 13, but 3 and 10, that'll make 13. This is positive, so 10 must be positive, but that's positive too, so it ultimately doesn't matter here. Okay, so that's going to be plus 3. So 3 times 10 is 30. And if you factored that out, or if you FOILed this out, x, we do this a million times, x plus 10, x plus 3, right, x squared plus 10x plus 3x plus 30. These combine to make a 13x with x squared in the front and plus 30 there. That should be like automatic by now. Okay, so that means that two things are true, right? Either x plus 10 equals 0, and x plus 3 equals 0. And if that is the case, let's focus that again. If that is the case, then I can solve this one and say x equals negative 10 and x equals negative 3, also known as like finding the zeros. Okay, so here's this one, right? So for this one, I need to make the left side of the equation combine with the right side of the equation to make the right side of the equation 0. Let's focus again. Okay, so I'm going to do that by moving this 5 over to here, making it minus 5. So a minus 5 and a minus 15 are going to make a minus 5 and a minus 10 are going to make it a minus 15 with the x squared minus 2x right there. That's going to equal 0 now. Okay, so now I can factor this with a negative and a negative combination. For my second and third term, it's going to be a positive and a negative with an x and an x. And the factors of 15, that'll make 2, so 3 and 5. Okay, I need to make negative 2 though, so 3 times 5 equals 15. This is negative, so my 5 must be negative and my 3 is positive. Okay, and all that equals 0. That means that x plus 3 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0. Getting out of focus every time here. So x is negative 3 and x is 5 when y is 0. Remember, each one of these is y is 0, right? So that means that my zeros of the equation when y is 0 are -3 and 5. Okay, so here's one with 2 x's and everything's kind of scrambled all around. I'm going to keep my 3x squared positive, so I'm going to move the 4 to this side, making it -4, and I'll move the 2 to this side, making it -2, right? So it's going to be 0 left on that side equals 3x squared. Let's see, it's going to be minus 11x plus 10. Right, so I have to slide and divide this one now. All right, so I'm going to slide the 3 over. I'm going to rewrite x squared minus 11x plus 30. Now I'm going to factor that. Okay, that's 3 times 10 is 30. So I'll factor this, a minus here and a plus there, makes a minus and a minus there. One is going to be x, another one's going to be x, and I need the factors of 30. That will make 11. So I have 1 and 30. That doesn't work. 2 and 15. That won't work. 3 and 10. That won't work. Did I do that right? No, this is 12. That's right. That's 12. 12. Okay. So that's going to be 13. No, that's 11. That's 11. Okay. So now I'm going to have, let's see, 30 divided by 4 isn't a thing, I don't think. Nope. 30 divided by 5 is 30 divided by 5. 30 and 5 is, sorry, 5 and 6, excuse me. 5 and 6 make 30, right? So I need these add up to a -11 with a -5 there and a -6 right there. Right now I have to divide both of these by 3, right? This one turns into a nice x minus 2, and this one turns into a 3x minus 5. Okay, so now I know that both of these still equal 0. They equal 0 up here. Right, so all that equals 0, that means that 3x minus 5 equals 0, and x minus 2 equals 0. So this is going to be 3x equals 5, and x equals 3/5 when y is 0, so 3/5 and 0, and then it's going to be x equals 2 when y equals 0. And I'm done. Okay, so hopefully, sorry about the little hiccup there with the factoring of the 30, but that should be clear by now. If you have any questions, please let me know.